No better time than now, right?
Are we live?
We're live. We've been live.
Fuck it.
Do it live.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live, but then we'll have to re-record it 6 times.
So it's never live.
It's never live. It's always a redo. So last week was like the worst week of my life.
Why?
Well, not worst week of my life. I had some bad reads on some of the fights. Just
okay. That really takes a toll on you. So
it really takes a toll. The stuff I threw on Discord wasn't bad. It was like, it wasn't as bad as like, just talking. And then the stuff that I didn't put on Discord that I was pretty certain about was Claudio Ribeiro beating Ugly Man Joe. And I was certain about that, but I didn't put that as one of my love picks. And
I think I picked it up for you. Don't worry about it.
You did, and you did something else that I talked about, and I didn't put it on. So just some weirdness there. And then just we lost a title fight. And those two, it was one thing. Look, I'm not saying that these two things are equal, but these things add up. And you do, and I do. We legitimately take the betting and our picks seriously because, we do this and we want to offer a good service. And so when we have weeks where we have bad picks, it gets to me. I don't.
You text me every time.
It's like, oh man, but it's bad. Like I don't like it. And when we have good weeks, I'm like, yeah, the guys killed it and whatever. And then you add a title fight on it. And the title fight was weird. I'm there all week. There's so much chaos and weirdness with the stuff and the lead up to it.
Can I be honest with you?
Hold on. Yes. Right after I say, I am not kind of I'm behind the scenes. And so I like to stay in the shadow.
So you weren't following around Aljo?
Yes. I'm not following around Aljo. And I don't like the circus of the stuff. And so I just, not that Henry really did a lot of the circus, but our camp as a whole, and not like they shouldn't have done it. Who am I to say that they should or should not have done it? On a personal level, it just makes me a little uncomfortable. So I'm just a little on edge. So now, what were you going to say?
Well, I'm disappointed in your outfit, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Well, one, you look like you're on vacation. And two...
We already went over this the last time. Like, why don't you want to go on vacation?
And two, why aren't you wearing the cool tracksuit?
Dude,
you should have come in the tracksuit.
If I've ever had a fail in life, it is that right now.
I didn't know they could make tracksuits that small for Henry.
With the gold,
little tiny
dude.
one.
I dropped the ball. That would have been the single best thing ever to come on here in that tracksuit. However, in this air conditioned sweat box.
You got to take one for the team.
By the end of it, I'm 132 pounds.
I was going to say, is that how Henry cut weight? Yes. As he just kept the tracksuit on?
Oh my gosh, that would have been good. But, so all in all, so that's a small thing. I don't really care about the antics and stuff, but it's just that does make me uncomfortable as a human. And then Henry lost the fight, and it was a really close fight.
Really close.
And I'm not. So you guys are a lot of people. Everyone bitches about everything just to bitch. So calm down. I'm not saying that it was a bad decision or a good decision or whatever. I personally thought Henry won round 2, round 3, and round 5. Other people didn't see it that way. Not all the judges did. So whatever. My issue with the judging is round 5 going to Aljo.
Crazy.
And look, round 1 was 100% Aljo.
2 was the swing.
2 was the swing, but. Remember, the number one criteria is damage, and that's when Henry rocked Aljo in that round and had him wobbled. And I was like, man, and then he got the takedown at the end to kind of steal, but I thought damage should have done more. 3, all 3 judges gave it to Henry. And then round 4 was, that was close. That could have gone either way. I think one of the judges gave it to Henry, 2 of the judges gave it to Aljo, whatever. 2, 3, and 4, man, those things, depending on where you're sitting and what your criteria are, all right, do what you want. But round 5 was freaking Henry's round.
Honestly, not close.
It was not close, and that was his round. Whatever you want to do with round 2, 3, and 4, whatever. Round 1 was Aljo, round 5 was Henry. And so then you get a judge who gives it to to Aljo, and that same judge gave the Chaos Williams fight against, is it Bedoya, who he fought? Chaos Williams won that freaking fight 2 rounds to 1. He absolutely won it. Won the first round, won the second round, lost the third round.
And it was close.
What do you mean?
The fight was close.
Yeah, but that was, he won those 2 rounds and then lost that third round. 2 of the judges saw it that way. The same judge who gave that 5th round to Aljo scored that round 30-27 for Bedoya.
Yeah.
And so, like, man, is the viewpoint that different from where he was sitting or what? And so I'm not saying it was a bad decision. I'm not saying it was a good decision. I'm saying that the judges have zero recourse. Like, a lot of these judges are just somebody's family member. They're just somebody who knew somebody. They don't have experience in the sport. The refs all have experience in the sport, but our judges don't. And then if there's a bad call, they don't even have to answer for it. They don't have to explain it. There's no review process. And whether Henry won round 2, 3, and 4, do whatever you want to that. Reminds me of a time here in Phoenix. We had a kid, Josh Madrigal, who used to train with us, who fought Clayton Carpenter, who is now in the UFC. Mm-hmm. And Josh lost the fight. He absolutely lost round 1 and 2. There's no question about it. Josh absolutely lost round 1 and 2. Round 3, Josh had his back the entire round, landed a couple uppercuts right before he had his back, and that was 100% Josh's round. I'm not contesting that he lost the fight at all, but one of the judges gave it 30-27 to Clayton, and if you're going to do that, it's like, where are we? Like, how do you win a round if that is your criteria? And that is my point is it just, we've seen so many bad judging calls. I would say over the last 3 or 4 months, like some
honestly, probably longer than it's gone on forever. But the Lucy Puladova was amongst the worst because there was an argument for her to have the most solid 30-27, but even a 29-28, couldn't see it another way than 29-28. She clearly won 2 rounds on damage, control, top time, striking. She won every part of every round in those first 2 rounds. Third possibly could have gone either way. And then for the other girl to win is crazy.
It's insane. And so that stuff just really, really gets to me. And I can get like losing a fight. Zombie lost to Volk. I mean, he just lost to Volk. Volk was a better man that night. Okay. And even on the scorecards with Henry and Aljo, like, hey, look, it was super close. Even before the judges gave their decision, somebody asked me, did we win or not? I'm like, I don't know. It was close. Like, I thought we won 3-2. I have no idea what the judges are going to do. So it's a close fight. Either way, whether somebody's going to be mad because any fight that close is going to happen. But you still have got to have accountability for, like, a round here. It's like, come on. So anyway, so that was really, I hate losing. And Henry losing, just, I hate it, and it's hard to get to a title fight. It's really hard to lose and then get there again. Yeah. And so, I'm looking at Henry's position now, and hopefully he fights Merab or something that should catapult him right back up. But I hope he doesn't retire. I thought he fought really well for being out for 3 years. And I think that first round, it took him a little bit to kind of get into the rhythm. And I think he kind of gave up that round on just, whoa, hold on here. Wait, I'm not ready to fight yet. I need a minute. And I think the ring rust was off after that first round, but I think there was a round of ring rust. And I think if Henry fights again, I think being 36 now as opposed to 33 when he fought last, and I think he's going to have a better understanding of his body, of the pace, of the ring rust, and I think he's going to do really well.
Was he able to get a lot of sparring time in? Because I know seeing in the clips leading up, he had that cut on his face. So it seemed like he probably couldn't do a ton.
We missed a good amount of sparring rounds that we wanted to get in.
Because of that cut?
A little bit of it was the cut, and then he also got sick the last 2 weeks of his fight camp, 2.5 weeks, he was dealing with the sickness. So we had to really tone it down because he had to just heal up.
Just keep your body ready for the fight, focus on the weight.
Exactly.
It sucks. It was kind of a crazy transformation because I've been around Henry a lot, and you see him when he was at Neuroforce years ago, shredded like crazy. Yep. He looked insane. And then he took some time off. And honestly, it looked like he put on a lot of muscle because he was lifting and doing a lot, and he put on a lot, but also a little belly. Mm-hmm. And then in literally 3 days' time, he went from a belly to shredded again. Unbelievable. He's a genetic freak, and I know he's short and little, and you might not know it, but when he starts moving and you're just like, so many times we're just are all like jaw on the floor. I can't believe he did that type of stuff. He's got a chin. He can wrestle his ass off. He's athletically freakish, and he has the mind of a champion. It's just, I mean, he really is rare. If he had a tune-up fight before that, I think he wins that fight. I think it.
just with the ring rust.
And I'm not anywhere near Henry's level, but I just came off a 3-year layoff too. And that first time, you're sinking down to the level of your competition a ton. Just like you said, learning the first round. I think I dropped the first round in my fight too. And I was winning it, took him down. But then it's just like the little things of just being in there and taking so much time off. You're just trying to understand how to fight one more time. Second round, you're back
and like
to
you said, you needed a round. But you don't have the luxury of giving up a round.
Not when you're in the fight.
Yes. And,
sparring, okay.
Yep. I think there was one round of ring rust. And then I thought he looked good, and he got out of it, and he adjusted really well.
To me, it looked like he just needed a little bit more cardio. It looked like he had all the answers for everything that Aljo was doing, just not enough to throw out the volume out there and just slightly win those rounds because they were all so close.
Super close. And I don't know. I was talking about that. I think... I don't even know if it was a cardio thing in general or if it was a pacing thing because we didn't get to do 5 rounds enough for him to really be comfortable of like
I know how
the
far
pace
I can push
to
it.
keep it. Yes. Yeah. And so there were some moments. I don't think Henry ever looked tired in that fight, but I thought there were some moments where he could have pushed the pace and then didn't. And I don't know if that was actually cardio or if that was a pacing thing. I thought he looked really good. I thought his cardio looked really good. I thought his fight IQ and his adjustments were really good. There were just some minor little things, and and Aljo was a little longer and trickier and more awkward than I think even Henry thought.
That's one thing that I said about Aljo is like you watch Aljo and even on the lead up clips, he looks horrible. Like his striking looks bad. He'll kind of throw punches and then like double it up like that and just little things that are so bad. And he's chin up in the air and leaning back with everything and off balance. Everything is wrong about what he does, and it works because he understands his own body.
His own weirdness, where other people don't understand that weirdness.
It takes you a second. It takes you a second. He knows when he can hit you with a jab and he'll still be chin up and out of the way, but he's not getting
But he's
hit.
7 inches further than your reach.
Yep.
So,
his timing is off and throw a kick up the middle. Like he just understands his own fight style.
Yeah. I am happy that my specific role was don't get him submitted, don't get his back taken. If he gets his back taken, make sure he's getting out and not getting body triangled.
Honestly, I couldn't believe that. That was the biggest thing in the fight to me was when Aljo did get him down and got that hook in, how quickly Henry was able to pop up.
Back to the cage, scrape, shoulder, head on the cage, butt on the cage, up and out. So I was happy about that he didn't win any moments by just stealing the time, being on the back and stuff. So that was good.
And give props to Aljo too, because in past he's shown to fatigue a little bit, get tired.
Yes. Yep.
He hangs on the ground a lot like that, and he pushed a really good pace for not being able to find success and steal rounds like that.
So it's a good fight, both of them. Hopefully we get to run it back at some point or get another shot at the title, depending on what Aljo does and how everything goes. But I think whoever fights Henry next is in for a world of hurt. And I think if Henry gets, another title shot, I think he wins it. I think he'll make the adjustments. He knows the adjustments he needs to make. And I think as a team, I think he'll get it. So, well, let's get into this week. We've got, we're getting a late start to this pod.
So I got to apologize on a few fronts. I got sick this week.
Yeah.
Bad. I couldn't even get out of bed. I was sick. And then we go to shoot it again. Forgot your bag.
Forgot my bag with the camera in it.
Okay. We have high production value here, guys. High production value. Typically, we have a 3-cam setup. What happened today?
Well, I actually got out of the car, and I got my keys, I got my computer, I got everything. I got my coffee. I got everything I need. Come in here, and I'm like, oh, our main camera is at my house. So we have to use our backup cam as our main cam, and we're not getting, just.
All right, so you guys are getting a late one. We're just chit-chatting.
All right, let's get into this card. Before we do, you guys, appreciate you subscribing and liking the channel. Jump on the Discord. We put a lot of time into this stuff, and the least you guys can do is just subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or iTunes. That's not a hard ask.
Pretty easy.
Not a hard ask.
We also have a couple more asks.
What
I know some of you guys that watch our business owners, we're ready for some sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
Like put your logo right there.
Yeah. Oh, hey, actually, somebody was watching the pod the other day, and they said that they work at the Apple store over here. And they were like, hey, if you ever need service or any maintenance or Apple Care or, tech stuff, bring your stuff over. We'll get it hooked up. And I was like,
Oh, is that true?
Okay.
All right, we got connections. We got reach.
We got a little bit.
I don't know if you know this. We got international fans. We already got free dinners in Louisiana. We'll do a crawfish boil.
You realize that's in America?
No, I'm saying international. Australia.
Okay, that's not in America.
No, I know. Well, Louisiana shouldn't be in America.
Okay.
It should be. Never mind. Let's continue on with the podcast.
Okay. So you know me. I always watch the most tape on the women's fights. I'm your guy.
Okay.
Women's fighting, I watch all of the tape. You don't ever watch tape, and you're always like, oh, I didn't watch tape on this one. I didn't get to it.
Okay, but you probably have a higher percentage of picking women's MMA than me who watches the tape.
So here's where I'm going with this. We've got Tainara Lisboa against Jessica Rose Clark. All I'm going to say is this. I'm going to look up Jessica Rose Clark's record really quickly.
Who's she dating, by the way?
I don't know. Is she dating a man or a woman?
A man.
Okay. Anyway, so she lost to Julia Stoliarenko and Stephanie Egger back-to-back, both armbar losses, okay? She's fighting Tainara Lisboa, who has 2 arm triangle choke submission victories. And since they both involve an arm, I'm saying Lisboa is going to win. MMA math for you. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't want to go too heavy on this fight. I just don't understand how you can find an edge. And honestly, from the tape, I don't get how you can kind of find an edge. Like, Lisboa looks fine on the feet. She's okay. She's fighting horrible people. She's kind of taking them down, submitting them. Okay. Jessica Rose Clark looks fine on the feet. She's strong.
Good takedowns.
Good whatever. She's fighting UFC girls who probably don't even deserve to be in the UFC. So it's like, where do we go with this one? I don't think there's really an edge here. I guess at dog money, I'm going to take Jessica Rose Clark, who's been in the UFC.
And Jessica Rose Clark, though, she is Cuchalaba to me. She has so many good, attributes. Like, her striking's fine, her wrestling is good, and just gets, caught with dumb stuff and gets submitted and, these weird, come on. She's better than...
Betting her against Stoliarenko was amongst my worst ever.
I mean, just honestly, the Egger thing, not only when she fought Egger did she lose, we were all like, the over 1.5 is going to hit. Easy over. And then she gets armbarred in 32 seconds. And we're all like, okay, what do you do with that? So, all right.
Just how bad is Jessica Rose Clark? She losing to Egger.
To Egger, I know.
We need Jessica Rose Clark versus Russian Ronda. Alex Silva.
Done. All right. Our first fight of the night, we've got Gabe Green against Bryan Battle. Give me your thoughts on Gabe Green and Bryan Battle.
I have no thoughts on this one. I didn't tape this one. I don't like this one. So why don't you just do this
Okay.
one?
So Bryan Battle, is he 8-2? Won the Ultimate Fighter. It's weird because he moves laterally and he likes to kick, and that's kind of his thing. And he'll kick first and then punch later. His punches aren't bad, but he's definitely kick first, punch later. And we saw who is the Japanese kid that he knocked out with a head kick? Right hand, right high kick. Yep, Sato. So right hand, right head kick, boom, done. I think that's a unicorn. I don't think that happens again. He has fine cardio. It's not amazing, but it's fine. And he has pretty good jiu-jitsu, pretty good submissions, pretty good MMA jiu-jitsu. His wrestling defensively is not very good, and his wrestling offensively is barely better or worse. I don't even know. So that's definitely his weakest area. He's young. He moves well. All of that is fine. The thing is, he's fighting Gabe Green, who we saw handle lateral movement a lot in all of his fights. People tend to run from him laterally. Even Garry.
He stalks them.
Yes. Yeah. Who did he fight before Garry? So I'm just going to... I've got it right here. It was Johan Lanese. Philip Rowe was the other one I was looking at, though. So he fought Philip Rowe. And I think Philip Rowe is Bryan Battle, but a punching version versus a kicking version of Battle. Tall, skinny, lateral movement. Not a lot of wrestling on either side, but when it hits the mat, he will use jiu-jitsu to scramble and wiggle and go. I mean, Gabe Green is Philip Rowe had his neck, had him mounted. Gabe Green is out of there. Garry, same thing, had his back. Not only did Gabe Green get out, he got on top, got his back. His jiu-jitsu is pretty good, and he scrambles well. He does get hit a lot, but He recovers well, and it's never like these overly damaging things. The issue is that Gabe Green has really good head movement, and if Bryan Battle starts winging head kicks, maybe he runs into something. But Gabe Green's head movement is going to stem from hands, where Bryan Battle doesn't really throw a lot of hands to create the head movement. So I don't really know that he's going to create that opening to bring those kicks upstairs. I like Gabe Green here. I think he's just going to be busier and do more. And I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be, who is it, Renat, Fakra, whatever, who beat him last. Kind of a striking version of that, where it's not like overly damaging. He's not like hurting Battle, but I think just the pressure and the volume and just being there, and he won't die, is going to win him the fight.
I was kind of with you, so I didn't tape it, and that's the reason I didn't tape it, because I'm like, these guys are kind of similar. They're high volume fighters. They're pressing, they're cardio based, like those kind of fighters. And I'm thinking Bryan Battle wins, and we were high on Battle before. Like, I don't know, I picked him as kind of a dog, and that was, in hindsight, awful against Renat. But
yeah.
We just kind of always thought of him as this really high volume, really good guy, out cardios people. He beat Petrosky by doing the same thing, getting beat up. But Gabe Green's a guy that doesn't fade nearly as much. Mm-hmm. He kind of comes on stronger. He can get his ass beat for 1 or 2 rounds, but then round 3, he's still pressing. Yeah. So,
and I don't know Battle, like, so he had the unicorn knockout, and then he had who did he fight before that? Tresean Gore. Like, how is he really going to win? Like, I mean, he can outlast people, and he did a little bit more with Gore, and he outlasted, Petrosky on the show.
I would say Gabe Green has pretty similar power to Gore too, but a lot more volume and better cardio.
Better cardio, and I just think he's a little bit better fight, not even better fight IQ than Gore per se. He's just more well-rounded, and he just has more tools. So,
all right, I'll go Gabe Green too. I like Gabe.
Yeon, Kim, Mandy, Bohm. I tape this a lot, but why don't you go first?
No, let's not do this one. I hate this one. Everyone's going to be on Yeon Kim here. I know Bohm is awful, but it's hard for me to bet on a girl that has 0 grappling upside ever. Chin up in the air. She's fast sometimes, but slow. Always getting her head snapped back. Like, I don't know. Maybe Mandy Bohm comes out and surprises everybody here, but this is a fight I just want nothing to do with.
Okay. In all of my tape that I watched for this, I agree with you 100%. Okay. And I'm gonna leave it there. All right. We've got second fight of the night. We've got Natan, Levy, and Pete Rodriguez. Give me your actual thoughts on that.
I mean, are we allowed to chat about this one?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit.
Ish. Pete's a Arizona guy.
Yeah. So we know Pete, in case you're wondering what that's about. We know Pete. So there's a little bias. So take stuff with a grain of salt. Just know that we know him. We like Pete,
I think this fight's pretty linear. It's Pete knockout first round, or it's going to be probably a Levy submission.
Do you think submission or decision by getting on top? Do you think he'll be able to submit him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, Pete's not. It's weird. He's a big, not big guy.
Yes.
He's short, but somehow always weighed a lot. And so this will be his first time at 155?
At 55, yeah.
So first we need to see if he can make the weight.
Yep.
He's got those thick Tucson bones.
Yep.
Okay. Then 2, I hate going against the Las Vegas Israeli, the Jews of Las Vegas. It's tough because the UFC loves them. Natan Levy has gotten so much better over his time. Mm-hmm. We used to be down on Natan Levy. Honestly, he put it all together in the last fight. I thought he looked really good. Yeah. I mean, if I had to go to a pick, I'm going to pick Natan Levy. Just more complete game.
The thing with Natan Levy is he's a very stylistic fighter.
Yeah.
That's not a guy that you just go in. If anybody on the planet goes in there and fights Natan Levy with no tape, has no idea what he's like, he's going to give him a hard...
little karate.
Yeah, it's just going to be a hard fight. And then even if you do win, even if you do figure him out, it's just an awkward style to deal with. Very linear, very karate-ish, a lot of spinning stuff, axe kicks. He's kind of all over. He's in your face in round 1, but he fades quite a bit as well. Like his cardio, it's gotten better, and I think a lot of that is adrenaline versus actual cardio. But he does fade, and one thing that he does is, especially after round 1, is he starts backing up and he starts reaching a lot. And if Pete can throw combination shots going forward, he can catch him, but he can't do the one-off, one-punch stuff on the outside. I don't know if I've ever seen Pete's wrestling in a fight. Have we ever seen him really wrestle? I don't.
It's kill or be killed.
Yeah, and I don't know that anybody has ever even really wrestled him. I think I remember seeing him get shot on a long time ago in one of his earlier fights, just stuffed the takedown, and that was the only shot that they took. I think Pete can. I like your sub or knockout right there. I think Pete has a good shot of doing it. I think. I don't think the height, because even Pete's I think he's 5'9", 5'10". It's not like he's 5'6". So
is he that tall?
Yeah, I think he's actually 5'9". So I think he's wide, and so we think he's 5'6". But I don't think the height is going to be that big of a deal, because Natan Levy's 6'6'1", but it's not 6'1" versus 5'7". It's 6'1" versus 5'9". So if Pete can crowd and go, I think he can find the chin. If not, I think, I don't even know if he gets submitted though, or just if Natan gets on top, he's a long, hard guy to deal with on top. So
long, hard guys.
Long, hard guys. Next up, we've got Cody Stamann. And why do people have 7 names? Douglas, Silva, Andrade.
That's the shortened version.
Why? Man, you got Silva on one side who, man, watching tape of him, he is way better than I remember him. In my head, he was a John Lineker and just swinging and swinging and swinging or nothing. He's not bad. Yes, he does swing for the fences, but he takes his turn. He's kind of calculated. He doesn't just blitz in. He will mix the levels up. And he even knows when to not try to throw down and strike. He was going against Sedner Magomedov and knew to clinch and hang and push him up against the fence. Against Morozov, he came back really well. He was hurt and rocked. He's not that bad. And then on the other side, you have Cody Stamann, who I was always a little critical of. I thought he wasn't as good as people think he is. And his boxing is really clean, but even more so than his boxing, he's always light on his feet. He's always in and out. He's in and out and lateral at the same time. He has really, really good footwork. He mixes his boxing in well with his wrestling, and he has this kind of low stance hands, almost like Philly shellish boxing style. Not so much, but kind of similar-ish to that. But then when he goes in the pocket, he knows to keep his hands up, and so his hands are up in the pocket. He's nice and loose. He'll rip the body, and he rips uppercuts. He will wrestle when he needs to, and his defensive wrestling is good as well. He really checks all the boxes. My big critiques of him are, I don't remember if it was the last fight or the fight before that, where he gassed a little bit, kind of faded out in that third round. Definitely, not only did he fade, I think he took the round off.
Yeah, and
you can't do that when fights are close. Who knows how judges are going to judge stuff, and so that's the thing. And then, for as good as his boxing is and his movement, and I really do like all of it, he doesn't sit down on his punches, and I feel like he could get a little bit more power out if he took those combinations from 4 or 5 punches down to 3 or 4 punches. Just take one punch away, dig in your feet a little bit, and go, because then you're always going to the scorecards. So I really like Cody Stamann here. Andrade throws a lot of looping punches, and Stamann slips well. He rolls in the pocket well, and he will rip the body and uppercuts in the pocket, 2, 3, 4 punches. And I think the way that those overhands and those looping punches go, it's easy for him to either get underneath to shoot or get underneath and rip the body, come in with some uppercuts. I think it'll probably be close for a little bit. And then the good thing about Silva is he fades a little bit too. So I don't think him coming on at the end is going to really be a factor with Cody, sliding down a little bit in the cardio level as well. But let's see. But I like Cody here. I think I probably like it over. Just if Cody had a little power, gosh, I would say he can finish it. He just doesn't. doesn't sit down on his punches.
Yeah, that dude's a tough dude to put away too. I'm with you. I like Cody. He's got the wrestling upside. His boxing is super clean. Yeah, he faded a little bit, but I think in that last fight, he was fighting Luan Lacerda. Honestly, I thought Luan kind of won that fight.
That was a close fight. And Luan is really good. Luan is really good.
You were low on him last time, and he looked much better in the actual fight.
Yep, he looked good.
But in that fight, he was stabbing the body a lot too.
Yep.
He was throwing a lot of front kicks, a lot of stab in the body. So that could have had something to do with it. Not securing the takedowns. And who knows, maybe Cody didn't even want to go takedowns on him because he was afraid of the jiu-jitsu and going the only path that he felt that he had to win.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's going to feel the same way here, although that dude is a fire hydrant, Douglas.
Right. But Cody was wrestling and took down Merab a couple times and was getting taken down and back up. So if he can hang with Merab, then I think he's going to be able to wrestle Andrade.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And cardio-wise.
Yeah, I'm going to go the younger fighter, the better fighter, probably more well-rounded, even though I think it's tough. I do think this one probably goes over, but I like Cody Stamann here.
Okay. Karl Williams, Chase Sherman. This is a fight that should have happened a few weeks ago. Where was I? I was in Miami, and this fight got called off the day of. And I was in the back, actually, with the Kill Cliff guys, and I was like, hey, what happened to Sherman? And they're like, oh, they were mum's the word, but I remember asking, like, dude, it was like that day of what happened. Did you ever hear what happened, why that pulled? Or I mean, they're heavyweight fights. It's not like they're cutting weight.
No.
I don't even know. If you guys know, let us know why Sherman had to pull out of that.
We were waiting for you to tell us.
No.
I thought you were about to drop the
No, I thought, I was.
This would have impacted betting lines around the world.
Yeah.
You would have been next to Kraus.
So, yeah, I didn't know. I don't know what's going on. And I was just curious, like, I didn't actually, he was already off the card, guys. I asked, like, hey, why did he get pulled off? Like, what happened? And they didn't tell me anything. Whether they didn't know or whatever, because there's a bunch of them on that card.
I think he got drunk and then stole a car and got into a wreck.
Might have. All right. Has anything changed with Karl Williams and Chase Sherman in your mind since?
For me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, last time I made a good case. First of all, I got a really good number on Chase Sherman last time, and the line moved and everything like that. I was happy with my number. Wasn't a life-changing fortune that I had put on it, but it was a little something. It was such short notice for Karl Williams, and I don't know. There was a million things that could have been a problem. Now he's had some time to think about the matchup, to be training, new date booked. Now I think Karl Williams is going to be a bad matchup for Chase Sherman.
Yeah.
Take him down over and over again, gut it out a little bit more. So, swapping with the times, such short notice, picking up Chase Sherman last minute to now a little bit of a camp, I'll go Karl Williams.
I was trying to find a way that Sherman wins this because I remember you talking about Sherman last time.
I made a good case.
It was a good case. Solid case.
I should have been a lawyer.
Solid case.
It's not too late.
But if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. And he was acquitted last time, and the retrial it wasn't such a good case.
Here it comes. He's going to go to a civil court now and lose.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to because Sherman, I think he's actually looked a little bit better lately.
Yeah.
He's got fast hands. His stand-up is
bare knuckle legend.
Good, yeah, bare knuckle legend. But God, his takedown defense is atrocious. It is just comical. And then he doesn't get up well. It's just bad. And then if he had power, okay, he can knock him out, but he just doesn't really knock people out either. And
I'll be honest, if they took the gloves off, different ballgame.
Different ballgame, maybe.
Bare knuckle legend.
And then you have Karl Williams, who's athletic. Can I say that, or is that?
You can say blackletic, yeah.
No. I just meant he's athletic. He's just tall and handsome and athletic. And he's not even a great wrestler, but he's a good MMA wrestler. Man, he gets under there, blast doubles, you're going down. And he hits a double leg again and again and again. Even when he gasses himself out, he's one of those guys that's okay being tired. Hands on his knees, but you come at him and he's going to blast W again. So he's going to redline it again.
That shit
again,
was
again.
Crazy.
And he's going to do it. So I think even no matter how tired he is, no matter the details, I think he's just going to shoot again and again and again and again on Sherman. I could actually see him finishing Sherman. I think it's inside the distance because I think after a couple takedowns, he punches him a little bit. Sherman tries to get back up and ends up getting punched or choked out. So,
what happened to the old saying, black guys don't know jiu-jitsu?
I have never heard that saying.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hope Karl Williams breaks the mold here, breaks the chain.
Yeah, I think Williams wins this. I think the lines are kind of steamed at this point, but maybe inside the distance find prop.
Honestly, we're so late on all these. Everything's steamed. We're just chit-chatting, having fun.
All right, Matt Brown, Court McGee. Man, where do you go with this one? This is a weird one. Matt Brown has looked good his last, couple fights. He beat De Lima. And then...
God, that fight.
Right? It was, man, just blast him with a straight right. And De Lima, looked good before that. Even the Barberena fight, he looked good and was doing well. He had a lot of good success there. And then, of course, he lost to Baeza and Carlos Condit before that. I'm pulling up Court really quickly just for his last couple. He lost to Jeremiah Wells. Mm-hmm. But, man, at this point, who hasn't lost to Jeremiah Wells? But then he beat Ramiz, beat Claudio Silva, who is 87, lost to Condit, lost to Brady, lost to Lima, all decisions.
Honestly, some of those fights were way closer than
they say. Exactly. Yeah. So the striking, Matt Brown, all the way I give. On a technical level of striking, Court McGee is almost like we were talking about Aljo earlier. He's effective, but it's not super pretty. So he's got a long jab, a long cross, but it's a little clunky. And not even clunky, it just doesn't look the part. If you're looking at a pro boxer, pro kickboxer, and that is the gauge, there's some things that, Court does differently that on a technical level of striking. He's fine, he's serviceable, whatever, he's good. But Matt Brown, I just think, is better. And Matt Brown is just more creative. He's just more Muay Thai as well, just traditionally Muay Thai. Traditional. Goes underneath to catch middle kicks, swims them, counters well, catches kicks, comes in with the elbows. He's just really creative with his attacks. And, on the other side, they have Court, who is always in good shape. And even when he gets taken down, the dude is a cat. He's up and wins. It's honestly better to not take him down if you don't want to be taken down, because he will strike with you until you wrestle him, and then he pops up, re-wrestles you, puts you on your back. Matt Brown used to do more from his back, used to be more active, used to do more stuff, and he just doesn't anymore. Same, we'll get to Tim Means later. Tim Means used to be so much more wily on his back as well, and he doesn't. Matt Brown, you put him on top, he's a horse. You put him on his back, and he's kind of lying there at this point. I think, and these are two old men as well. There's a lot of old people on this card. This is the 36 and up community of fighters.
The AARP card.
The AARP. This is the...
Of course, they put him in North Carolina.
I know. Isn't that where AARP is found?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I like Court McGee here. I think he's going to wrestle. I think Matt Brown needs to catch one of those sneaky elbow spin, what he did to Diego, caught the kick through the elbow. I think Court's smart. I think Court's going to know what Brown is going to bring. And I think Brown is just going to go out there and throw down because he's just a tough SOB. But if Court starts wrestling, I think that's a Court fight outside of something wild going on.
I'm with you. I think the price is a lot. Minus 220 on old Court McGee is not the most fun, but I do think he wins this fight, and I think the cardio is going to be a big factor. You're seeing Court McGee, honestly, nobody's taken really Court McGee out except for Jeremiah Wells, who obviously has the crazy power, but he beat...
And then he got knocked out in his second UFC fight or something like that, TKO'd. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
He's not a
Ponzinibbio.
guy... Ponzinibbio. He's not a guy who's getting finished.
Yeah, I mean, so he beat Ramiz, who's a good grappler, who's a little prospect. Claudio, that was an easy one. Lost to Condit, which kind of sucks, but he hung in there with Sean Brady. He was in there with Diego Lima, who was a younger Diego Lima.
Yes.
And Lima, correct me if I'm wrong, was winning that entire fight until he wasn't.
With Matt Brown. I would say he was winning, but not
blowing him out of the water.
Horribly.
But
that was a Lima fight before that.
I think that, man, we had seen so many things, and we had probably thought
But Lima gassed. Lima came out in the second round very fatigued.
Okay.
Versus what he did in the first round. That's not going to happen with Court.
No, and that's the thing that's where I think the biggest thing is here. One, Court's got an amazing jab.
Yeah.
You can say everything else about the rest of his strikes, but his jab is very good.
He has long punches in general, and he's not a big kicker.
Yeah, good range, good distance management, and then his wrestling is amazing. His defensive wrestling, and then like you said, re-wrestling is amazing. And that's the one thing that we had seen before Matt started kind of going on a little run here is his cardio was failing him time and time again. And he would go so hard and just be so wanting to swing and go crazy in the pocket, and then he'd be exhausted. So
you wonder what I love that Matt Brown does though is that foot sweep. Man, they clinch, boom, turns people, dumps them right on their ass.
Traditional.
We've seen that in his Barberena fight a couple times, and we saw that with who did he fight right before Barberena, the other big ass dude, Ben Saunders. So we saw that there. Just foot sweep jumping people on their heads multiple times.
Yeah.
So I love that. But if you do that to Court, it's going to set off the grappling bells, and Court's just going to come up and wrestling. It's like the worst thing you could do to Court. So
that's really funny that you say it like that. Yeah, I'm going to be on Court too for the grappling, the cardio edge, just clean, smart fighter. But
next up, we have another fight that's similar to that in different ways. We have Tim Means and Alex Morono. It's what I said just about Matt Brown. Tim Means, of course, an old school guy that I feel like used to be really active off his back. Dirty Bird, and now
because he's a Republican now.
You get old, things change.
Yeah.
What do you think about that fight?
Man, I go Tim Means for every fight Tim Means has ever had. It almost doesn't matter who he fights. I'm always going Tim Means, and I don't understand why at this point because he's looked progressively worse and worse and worse and worse over time. But man, Morono has always looked better in fights and done better in fights than he should.
I always choose against Morono. And he always wins, except I finally picked him to beat Ponzinibbio, and he lost.
But he was winning the whole fight.
He was.
Yeah, I mean, he's like kind of fat.
And he took that fight on like a week notice or something.
Yeah, he did. He's kind of fat. He's kind of wide. He's kind of loopy. He kind of just looks horrible, but he always overachieves. He always looks really good. And Tim Means is this high volume, really good boxer, Dirty Bird in your face. He's a wrestling coach. All these amazing things.
Dirty Bird's a wrestling coach?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
An Arkansas middle school. It will never be the same. I'm just kidding. I think he is like a middle school wrestling coach or something like that.
Wow. All right. You learn something new every day.
The standard's not high. Not everywhere is Penn State.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But I think I'm going to go Dirty Bird one more time. One last ride.
Okay.
Volume, cleaner, straighter punches, longer punches, veteran savvy. And as long as he doesn't get chinned every 3 seconds, I think I like the Dirty Bird. And the jiu-jitsu, I think, should be close.
See, jiu-jitsu I give to Morono.
I do too.
But neither of these guys are great wrestlers, and so I don't know that jiu-jitsu is going to come into play unless somebody gets dropped.
Don't say that about Tim Means. He's a wrestling coach.
Yeah, true. So yeah, I think jiu-jitsu kind of negates itself by proxy of wrestling, and both of them are decent, not great. They're adequate defensive wrestlers. They use the cage well. They know how to stall it out for MMA. Neither of them are great offensive wrestlers. Means I give the clinch to all day, every day. The thing with Means, though, is he's busy with his feet. He's not necessarily busy with his hands at first. And I wish that Morono would kind of take a page out of Max Griffin's book. When Max Griffin fought Means, Southpaw versus Orthodox, Griffin was an Orthodox guy. Griffin threw 2 body shots, 2 straights to the body, and Means dropped his arms a little bit to adjust, drops his arms a little bit to adjust. Third one, straight up top, blasts him, rocks him.
Well, Alex watches this program.
Does Alex? He? So there you have it, Alex. And Alex watches a lot of film, and so I'm wondering if he's going to pick up on. And I don't even know that Alex does. They always just say it on the telecast that he's a student of the game. He watches tons of film. So because of that, I think, okay, he's going to pick up on that, and that's it. But just his natural movement is he always leads with his lead hand. Alex does. He's got a really long, boxy hook that he kind of uses almost as a check hook, and then he'll throw like a lead 3-2 combo a lot. He will throw a 1-2 as well, but generally he leads with his left hand. I hope, well, not I hope like I want him to, but I think Alex will win this. And I think if he leads with that right hand a lot, he's got a good, long, straight right hand, and I think he can land that a lot on Means, who tends to kick first and kick more often. And I think how do you beat a kicker is you punch him. And so Morono has looked better and better and better. Honestly, I was so impressed with him against Semmelsberger. That was such
crazy. Yeah,
I'm really big on Semmelsberger, and he's hit and miss, but I really like his skills, and I think the guy could really be really good. He does a lot of stuff that I really like. And then I think in the third round, he got hit with the knee, the flying knee. Samuelsberger, his corner told him, hey, you're down 2. You got to go balls out. He went balls out, made something happen. Wasn't quite enough, but hey, great for him. Dirty Bird is a little bit older. Does he have that like hate in his heart to go out there just guns blazing, balls out? I like both these guys. I'm with you. I'm always on the means train. And I'm always against Morono, but I think Morono is
time to swap here.
Yeah, I think as long as nothing wild happens, I think Morono is in shape. It's not last minute. He's watching tape. He's going to pick up on some tells, and I think Means is going to Means. And Means' wrestling has actually gotten better over the last few fights. I think it's looked better. He's a wrestling
coach.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a wrestling coach.
Wow, man. Thank you for sharing that. So anyway, I'm going Morono here. Going Morono.
I kind of want to change my pick, but like. People act like I bet like $1 million on each of these fights. I'm just going to keep it for the sake of it. Don't trust my opinion.
Okay.
I like what you said.
Okay. Next up, we got Carlos Ulberg and lhor Potieria.
Yeah, I don't think this fight's close. We've talked about lhor plenty. Mm-hmm. And I remember going up to him and Shogun, we were like, man, who do we go with? Because Shogun used to be so good, and he was just very clean and basic, and he hits hard. Like, but he's so freaking old.
I think we both picked lhor on that, right? Sadly, we picked lhor.
And the fact that we were even making a case for Shogun in that fight was crazy. Yeah. Now you have young, handsome, chiseled Ulberg. I won't let my girl watch this fight.
No, she can't. My wife, I don't want a divorce.
Hey, leave the room.
Yeah, go.
Go get us food.
Yeah. Go to the kitchen.
All right, Ulberg KO. Round 2, book it.
So the thing with this is, I think everything you've said so far is correct. lhor did look better in his last fight. And
he fought the corpse of Shogun.
No. Forget about who he was fighting. He didn't adrenaline death gas like he did the fight before. And so I think he's getting a little bit more comfortable, and I don't think he's going to go as stupid, as he did before. He's actually tall and long, and actually has some good straight punches. And when he, not even straight punches, long punches. So he can actually throw and land well, which is good. This is an Ulberg fight. However, if Ulberg, who was it recently that got clipped because they got, Ian Garry, which we'll get to in a minute, against his last fight, Keenan Song, he's almost like winning so much that he threw that left hook to the body and just moved away for a half a second and got clipped. So
he's staring at his work because it's too beautiful.
Yes, and so we got to make sure that Ulberg doesn't blow his load like he did on Nchukwi, but Nchukwi is a little bit more durable and he's in there, and we got to make sure that he's not beating. Who is it? He's on the Ultimate Fighter 35er who is beating up the kid from Guam so much and then got knocked out with a body shot at the end.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's who's a really good Russian. He fought Jack Shore and lost.
Ludovic?
No. Where he's winning all 3 rounds. And who did Cody Garbrandt just fight?
Oh, Trevin,
yes. Trevin fought
5-star Jones.
Yeah, and who did he fight when he was losing the entire fight?
Yeah,
and then KO'd him.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway,
it's the little guy from New Jersey.
Yeah,
who's crazy.
Dagestani. Anyway, the fight. Whatever, something like that. That you just got to make sure that he's not winning so much that he just takes the brakes off because lhor is dangerous.
But I don't think lhor has the gas to do that.
I don't think so either. But that's my only thing is in the lines, again, everything is already steamed at this point. So you go Ulberg by KO. But
I wouldn't even do that.
You don't think so?
Well, I clearly think that's how he wins. But the lines are so bad. I hate playing minus 200 on a prop bet. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially when he went 3 rounds of Fabio Charant.
With Fabio, exactly. And in this, I could actually see it being a Charant type of thing where he's just touching him and doesn't want to do anything stupid. And lhor's just swinging so wild that he's just kind of moving and going. Or I could see a knockout as well. But yeah, I like Ulberg, but this isn't but again, lhor's dangerous for what he is.
Ulberg decision.
Yeah.
There we go. Book it.
Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod versus Ian Machado Garry. And I don't care about the fight for a second. how fast is it going to take the telecast to announce that Ian Machado Garry is now Machado Garry because his wife's name is Machado, and she had a son with a son when they got married. And so to be inclusive, they all changed their name. That way they all have all of the names and they all feel like family. How long will that take before that is announced?
Is she his beard?
What? Is she his beard?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, it's a term like a gay guy and they get with a woman so they look straight.
I've never heard that.
But they can operate in the shadows.
That is funny. Like I've never heard that at all.
He's just so nice.
That is
He's
funny.
Such a nice kid. But first of all, I can't stand the shorts. The shorts got to go.
What does he do with his shorts?
He just wears those they're like a diaper.
That's funny.
It's just too much. But he's really talented.
That is funny.
His jiu-jitsu leveled up after that.
What does he do? I don't think I've seen, And his neck is like...
It's like a giraffe.
It's like a giraffe.
You can actually feed him before and after the show. Yeah. A cracker.
So, we talked about this a little bit, so I already know. But how does this fight play out?
Oh, I don't think that this fight's particularly close at all.
Okay.
I think D-Rod is good for what he is. Weirdly, for as much kickboxing experience as first of all, D-Rod's the coolest man in the world.
Wait. Kickboxing experience.
Just training with Cowboy Cerrone and.
Okay, I thought you meant like he fought in Glory or K1.
Oh, he's
or something
K1
like
champion.
Has he ever kickboxed
in LA?
Has he ever actually kickboxed?
Probably in one of those bars or whatever.
I don't think I've ever seen him throw a kick.
No, he throws kicks. Oh, 100%.
Singular or plural?
He's thrown a kick.
Okay.
I don't know if he's agile enough.
Okay, go. All right, go.
No, first of all, he's the coolest guy alive. I think I said this before, but went to the fights here at the pay-per-view when Oliveira fought Gaethje, and D-Rod just sitting by himself, the coolest man alive.
So I have another prop bet.
Okay.
I was wondering, so I asked how long it would be before Ian Machado Garry got called up. I was curious how long it would take you to tell that story.
Did you win?
It was under a minute. As soon as you started talking. Yeah. As soon as you started talking, that's what I was.
Oh, wait, I'm offended. You haven't even asked my watch game today.
I didn't see your watch.
Let's see. Yeah, this is the Black Bay Tudor.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
There you go. But that's what I was clocking. Under a minute.
He's just a cool cat. He's just sitting by himself, drinking Modelo's, dressed like a
Didn't
cholo.
care that there's other people around, just hanging out.
Just whatever.
I'll finish the story for you.
Okay, all right, cool. I mean, it's not even a story. It's just him just existing.
He's cool.
He's awesome. But, man, he was getting chinned by a lot of guys.
Who, D-Rod or Garry?
D-Rod. Didn't he get chinned by Dwight Grant?
Well, everyone gets chinned by Dwight Grant before they win.
No, they do not. Anyways, I just think that Ian is so much cleaner, so much sharper. He's not as bad as people like to think that he is. And D-Rod doesn't have this massive one-shot power. I feel like guys like the Jordan Williams who just bull rush you and swing hard, and Kanan who's built like a tank. I think this is another Ian Garry masterclass here.
So I'm with you 100%. And D-Rod is somewhere between technical and
street fighter,
a power puncher, but he doesn't have both. He's not technical enough to out-technique Garry and make him look silly, but he doesn't brawl. If he just went in there swinging for the fences, I think he could catch Garry and he could knock him out.
Like a Jordan Williams who just said...
Or Gabe Green or somebody like that. Exactly. If Daniel Rodriguez fought like Gabe Green or Jordan Williams, he could knock him out. Just get in his face and go. But he's too technical, but not technical enough. And... man, if he throws clean, straight punches, he doesn't loop them, he doesn't kick a lot. He's not, he is boxing. He's Chris Curtis of the 170-pound division.
With less head movement and less counters.
Yes.
Less power.
And less defensive wrestling. So I like D-Rod. I just don't know how he wins here. I mean, again, can Garry get chinned? Absolutely, because Gary's Garry.
He gets chinned every fight, but man, he looks good before he does it.
He looks good. And once, and again with the Keenan Song fight and the Jordan Williams fight, and the Jordan Williams fight, he didn't get chinned as much as I remembered him when I look back on that fight. Like it wasn't like
he got flatlined,
but he wasn't like. See, I feel like I thought he was like rocked on the floor dead, but he was like wobbly and like moving. And then I thought he got hit by somebody else too that I thought was really a bad chin, and I was like, it wasn't that bad of a chin. I think it's probably that giraffe neck that when you've got a neck and it's like a pencil and you leave your chin up like that, it's hard to not get neck chinned.
But D-Rod also leaves his chin up too, because he fight like
he
South,
does.
South LA. He's like
Diaz. He's like, let's go, homie.
What's up?
Yeah. So I actually think that D-Rod could get finished here.
I do too.
I think Ian Garry, if he starts putting the pressure on and stays sharp and doesn't Carlos Ulberg it and just get sloppy, not like Ulberg will, but same thing, that's both of lhor and D-Rod's path to victory is their opponents getting lazy. And that's...
Okay, so we're going with the white guy on this one. Rare.
All right, I'm picking D-Rod. I'm picking D-Rod. I can't go there. All right, Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker. Dude, it is hot as hell in this non-air-conditioned room. And I've got an undershirt on, too. And I just downed my coffee.
I was looking around a little earlier for more water.
Oh, my gosh. Good idea to chug a hot coffee in a room without air conditioning in Arizona. I just looked at my legs, and I'm, like, sweating. I'm like, oh, my gosh. How? Like, we don't even have a fan. Like,
we need the makeup artist to retouch us.
Amber is our Cole today, so like we just need her to like grab a piece of paper and just fan it.
Can we take 5? We're big stars now, so can we take 5 and get a little touch up on the makeup?
We're riding through it, because if I take 5, it's going to be 5 hours, and I'm not coming back. Like, this is brutal.
It's all right. Maybe the show will come out by Sunday.
We just scrapped the whole show. We're just drenched by. I didn't need a sweatsuit to be drenched. I'm just
These
drenched.
chairs are also not great.
They're not great. It's like absorbing into my body. I'm like scalding hot over here.
You have a sweat line right down your. Never mind. All right, let's continue.
Jeez. All right, Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker. Am I up or are you up?
I don't know. This show has come off the rails.
It's off the rails. All right. You have Anthony Smith. He's tall. He's long. He can't stop a takedown to save his life. He gets on his back. He stays on his back. He hits hard, and I feel like he doesn't want to fight anymore. That's honestly the fight for me. Johnny Walker is less crazy than he used to be. His striking is not great, but when he swings, you got to listen, because he's Johnny Walker and weird shit can happen. He's not bad. He throws hard. I think his grappling is actually pretty good, and I think Johnny Walker could easily take Smith down and beat him up and not get submitted. I think that's an easy path to victory. I think Smith can knock Johnny Walker out standing, and if I didn't watch the last couple Anthony Smith fights that he's lost, which the Ankalaev fight, that's one. Then he won a couple and whatever. I would say this is an Anthony Smith fight. I say, honestly, his hands are good and he swings hard, and Johnny Walker gets knocked out, and I think Anthony Smith would win that fight. Watching Anthony Smith just crumble and shoot in and pull guard against... He shot in, couldn't get the takedown, and pulled guard against Ankalaev. Just makes me think he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to fight. And if shit gets ugly, then he's going to exit stage left. And, I mean, everything tells me that Anthony Smith should win this fight. His jiu-jitsu's good. He's clean. He's got good low kicks. His striking is clean. Like, everything tells me Anthony Smith. But seeing the way that he wilted in that last fight, he didn't get taken down. He shot in and pulled guard. I don't know. I can't get by that. And for that alone, I lean Walker on this. Zero confidence at all, because I think Anthony is a better fighter, but not the better fighter, the better striker. And if it stays striking, which I think it could, I think that's his fight. But Johnny Walker still tries to win. Like, he's gotten better. He is doing the right stuff as much as Johnny Walker can. He is big. He is long. He is awkward. He is athletic, freakishly athletic for how big he is. And I just have to lean Walker with him actually still wanting to fight.
I'm with you, and that's actually the one thing that I'm worried about, is that's the narrative this week. And that's why everyone's going to go to the Johnny Walker side. But I think it's true. Even not making weight as the backup, too. That was kind of a thing with Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
It's like, if you were still here and you're still hungry, like, you're making weight for that opportunity if it arises, right, to be the backup for the title fight. I totally agree with you. And Johnny Walker's talented. He really is talented. He hits hard. He hits from dynamic angles, and the guy is, like you said, he's a freak athlete. He can do everything a little bit well, and his big hole in his game has always been fight IQ. Whereas I think with Anthony, maybe that's always been the best part of his game is fight IQ. Even when he can't stop a takedown, and even when he's bad everywhere else, I never really thought he had great cardio to begin with. He's gotten tired in fights just striking, which is kind of hard to do. If you're going from grappling to striking,
makes sense,
makes sense. But to throw 50 jabs in a round and be dog tired the next round is tough.
And he's not training at elevation anymore. He lives in Nebraska. He used to go to Factory X for camp, which is in Denver. And now he's been kind of doing, I don't even know if he's up there right now.
He's training with my boy Maya.
What?
Skywalker Boxing represent.
Where's that at?
Nebraska.
Okay, now is I know the last camp he did with Stephen Thompson and Chris Weidman a bit. Do you know if he's been down there at all?
No, I honestly have no idea.
Okay.
I'm going Johnny Walker here as well.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Smith, but Walker.
That SBG game planning.
Yeah, that's it. Honestly, if he just goes, hey, just shoot in, like that's kind of a wrap right there. If Johnny Walker's wrestling. All right, main event time. We've got big boys, Biggie Boy, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Jailton Almeida. What's going on here?
I don't want to miss the train for when Jailton loses. I am going to take a shot on Biggie Boy, probably.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's at what's he at ATT?
Yes.
Yeah, he's at ATT. Who's decent game planners. They're solid. It's pretty clear what Jailton wants to do.
Yep.
Even last fight, he was getting a little bit tired after completely dominating.
I have to disagree. I remember watching that and specifically going right to round 2, and I thought he looked 100% fine cardio wise. Yeah. And I remember I don't know if it was you that said that or what, but I remember thinking, he's going to be gassed out. And I thought, he looked fine.
I think he was tired, but the reason here's why I think he was tired. He could have finished that fight 15 times. And he was kind of delaying it and going slow and delaying it and going slow. And then by the time he realized, I should probably finish this, I think he was a little bit tired.
Okay.
Just because the other guy started to kind of finally pick it up and start fighting again. Biggie Boy does have kind of weirdly good hips sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think he's going to stop Jailton's shot. No, it's going to be really hard to pick against Jailton here.
Yeah.
I can't pick against Jailton here.
The one I like is does not start the 4th round.
Jeez.
Maybe even does not start the 3rd round because it could be 1 or 2 rounds right there depending. Just as a whole, because it's either submission, Almeida, or KO.
When these kind of guys train for main events, do you think they're actually doing 5 rounds in sparring, or they're like, hey, we already know who we are as a person?
Like heavyweight type of guys?
Yeah, we know 100% this is not going the distance.
That's interesting.
Let's plan for 3 rounds and go as hard as we can.
I think you've got to always train for 5. I think so.
I know you have, you should in a perfect world, but do you think they do? Like Biggie Boy's at ATT, let's go 5 rounds. Or you think he's like, it's either kill or be killed in 3 rounds. Let's give it everything we got.
He went 3 rounds with Curtis Blades.
I'm just asking training.
Yeah, I don't know.
What your
I would say train for 5, but with guys like this, they might go, what's the point? We know this isn't it's kill or be killed. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious about that. I think this is an Almeida fight all the way. And here's my thought process is, Jailton or Biggie Boy clipped Chris Curtis coming in with a knee, caught him with some uppercuts on the way in.
Wait, who did he clip?
Curtis Blades.
Blades.
Curtis Blades. Clipped him on the way in.
You were about to get some mean tweets from Chris
I was about to get some mean tweets from Chris, some more mean tweets from Chris Curtis. And, we see that with Derek Lewis, hitting Blades with the uppercut and everything right there. Jailton Almeida shoots. He drop steps. So he actually wrestling, shoots, drops to a knee, and he shoots head on the outside. So that alone takes away the right uppercut and the right knee from Jairzinho. That alone is going to be a hard thing for Jairzinho to adjust to. If Jairzinho comes out southpaw, holy shit, live bet Jairzinho. That means they know what's going on and they game planned.
Jairzinho watches this podcast.
Well, get ready for it. So if Jairzinho really wanted to like up his chances of winning, just switch southpaw. Because now all of a sudden,
throwing those knees.
Yeah, throw the knee and the uppercut up the middle. Or he's going to really have to circle to his right a lot, because circling off to the right, if it's like shooting a bird, okay? You've got to like lead your target, or else you're going to go too far around. Yep. So if he stays stationary and he shoots
down,
yeah, he's going to go. So he's got to circle off to his right a lot.
Because he's going to have to follow.
Constantly, yes. So even if Almeida gets his hands on him, Almeida's trajectory is going to go forward, and he'll be able to like avoid some stuff a lot. If Jairzinho is circling left, that is going to make life very easy for Almeida. And if he's not circling and he's just waiting there to time it, he's in trouble, because he'll be waiting for the shot, and then Almeida will throw a jab, and then he'll shoot or something. He'll feint and then go. So I think this is pretty one-sided with Almeida, and once he gets it to the ground.
So that's the big question. Now we're in the rare territory, like we were with Kayla Harrison for a while. Is it knockout or is it submission?
No, it's submission, because if you, again, going back to the Blades fight, Blades took him down, and Biggie Boy got to the cage and built a base, tripod, back up. Okay, but he's going against a wrestler who's holding the waist and punching, who stays in the front. If he does that against Almeida, Almeida's taking his back and choking him out. So going against a wrestler, you can build a base and come up that way. Against a jiu-jitsu guy, it's what we did with Henry and Aljo, is you cannot tripod, you cannot build a base that way. You need to keep your ass, your shoulders, and your head on the cage, and you need to scrape up and away to avoid the back take in the transition. So, I mean, the guys at ATT, I'm sure, know that, but is that the easiest path to victory when Jairzinho gets taken down and he naturally just builds a base and tripods? Or is he going to keep his head on the cage, and then which Almeida slides up into like a mount-ish type of position, starts punching, and then Jairzinho has to go back to his old ways and tripod and come up. So I think if there's any takedown, I think it's Almeida's win. If Jairzinho is circling right a lot and being active and trying to force Almeida to shoot when he doesn't want to, and then of course if he comes out southpaw, which I've never seen him as a southpaw, then I think Jairzinho can win it. But I just think stylistically, for what they are and who they are, Jairzinho's got to really modify a lot of what he does to beat Almeida, and just these things match up like a puzzle. Almeida beats Jairzinho. It's like we said about Natan Levy. If neither of them have ever seen each other fight ever, just stylistically, Almeida is going to beat Jairzinho 100-0. Now, if you game plan specifically for that person and he does a lot of stuff, he can absolutely win given the adjustments. Does he have enough time to make the adjustments and whatever?
Any worries that Biggie Boy got 5-round experience?
No, I don't think it matters, because like I think you said
the Ream's pretty good.
I don't think what's that?
The Ream's pretty good,
but they are different stylistically. And when the Ream takes you down, he stays in your guard and grounds and pounds. When Jairzinho takes you down, he's going to pass. He's going to slide through into mount and side mount, and then
jiu-jitsu does work.
Yeah, we say it all the time. Jiu-jitsu on top is better than wrestling on top. Yeah. But can the jiu-jitsu get the fight
you down,
on top?
But this guy can wrestle.
So yeah. So I think that's the fight for me. And it's not out of the question that he catches him and clips him. I mean, that's... No,
I guess we were more thinking a ground and pound, like getting to his back and not being able to get under the neck, so he just punches.
I think he will punch his way right into a rear naked choke. Yep, I think even if he's one punch away from a TKO, he switches to a rear naked choke and does the finish.
Almeida actually listens to this podcast too. Please, for us, if you could just go for the sub.
Do any of these people actually listen to the podcast?
They all listen. That's not a question.
I doubt it. All right, guys, man, that's it. That's the pod. It's hot as shit in here. I need to go take an ice bath. It's brutal.
All right, we're looking for a new sponsor for a new building with air conditioning and Wi-Fi, preferably.
Wi-Fi.
That guy that said we could go to the Apple Store. Can we just do the podcast at the Apple Store?
All right, guys, like, subscribe, happy betting. We're out.